is Halo coming to PlayStation. After 2 decades, Halo is abandoning its own game engine and moving to Unreal 5. In this video, we're going to go over the 3 reasons why they would do this. One of them will cause Xbox fans to flip out. But before we get into the potential reasons for an engine switch, we need to understand what a game engine does. When most people think about a game engine, they think graphics. And that's because it's the easiest part to notice. It's the part that we see. But it actually does more than that. At its core, a game engine simulates, usually a lot of things at the same time. One big area is physics. When you think about graphics in a game, you should actually be thinking about light. This is because graphics in a game basically boils down to optical physics, or a representation of it. There's other physics in the game too. Acoustics, like the sound of a rocket flying by you, or Newtonian physics, gravity. It's what makes a warthog fall down and not up. And don't forget the bounce either. In addition to simulating a game environment, game engines provide developers a way to interact and build in that environment. They have a coding environment to write the rules of a game. They also have a scene environment to place 3D objects in a level. The point is, game engines do a lot more than just graphics. It lets developers create a simulation, and it delivers an experience for you, the player, to enjoy it. Game creators often need the same tools and features, especially those in the same genre. So for example, imagine building a model that simulates a 3D object bouncing off another object. We call this kinematic physics. This occurs in a lot of different games, and it's not an easy thing to build. Why bother rebuilding it? Why spend the time building and maintaining your own game engine? Answering this question for Halo is particularly interesting. This is because Halo is the Xbox franchise. Before the original Xbox launched, the industry was very skeptical. Why would Microsoft, the makers of Windows and Word and Internet Explorer, make video games? Well, turns out Halo was their killer app at launch. It single-handedly justified the console out of the gate. Without Halo, there'd arguably be no Xbox. Halo represents Xbox. For decades, the major console manufacturers have had 1 or 2 franchises that have represented their platform. For Sony, you can argue it was Gran Turismo or Final Fantasy. But for Xbox, it was definitely Halo. And that meant Halo had to look its best, be the best. Because it wasn't just selling copies of Halo, it was selling Xboxes. Now, the main reason to build your own engine, especially for a console, is for performance. To fully optimize your game for the resources it has available. In this case, it is hardware. When you're starting from nothing, you basically have the maneuverability, the space to fully align the game's software with the game's hardware. This lets you do some gnarly low-level coding so that you can really squeeze every ounce of performance that you can out of a GPU or CPU or both. However, over the past couple of hardware cycles, game consoles have gotten more similar, more PC-like actually. So that extra effort to make a game pop doesn't come through. There's just less differentiating hardware to stand out with. On top of that, the most expensive games in the industry are getting more expensive, and it's reaching its breaking point, if it hasn't already. So today, there's a huge pressure to just save money wherever possible. Also, for games to look their absolute best, hardware might not actually be the bottleneck. It could be just as well the quality of the asset going into the game. So think about a highly detailed 3D model with multiple layers of textures and highly detailed animation. An engine that can render graphics great can't shine through if it doesn't have great assets to match. You need to balance engineering with the art department. So to recap, why would Halo abandon its in-house engine to adopt Unreal? First, cost. There's a lot of resources to create and maintain a game engine. Second, efficiency. To focus people on making the game. In this case, in making Halo. These 2 reasons are pretty typical for most game developers, but there could be a third reason why Halo made the switch. This reason wouldn't be controversial for most game developers, but it is for Halo. Remember when I said Halo represented Xbox? Halo on PlayStation 6 confirmed. Halo on PlayStation 6 confirmed. A key problem game engines solve for game developers is multi-platform. The ability to easily port a game from one platform to another. Game engines solve this in large part by maintaining relationships with hardware manufacturers, relationships that wouldn't ordinarily be possible. They behave kind of like Switzerland. They're neutral, so they're able to broker technical support between the big hardware players. For example, another game engine, Unity, got popular because it bridged iOS and Android operating systems on mobile. Without Unity, Apple and Google would have had to coordinate their technology in order to ensure cross-compatibility. But they're competitors, so it might not be in their best interest to do that. Halo on Unreal doesn't automatically mean Halo on PlayStation, but it does open up the opportunity. Was it the main reason? I personally don't think it was, but I'm pretty sure it was at least part of the math somewhere. Xbox exclusives have already been going over to PlayStation recently, and more are rumored to be going over, including a game from a different franchise that's been attached very well to Xbox. And guess what engine that franchise was built on? Unreal. And if the next Halo is a live service game like Halo Infinite, it completely makes sense to go multi-platform. The live service games model requires as many players as possible. A multi-platform game strategy delivers that. So, here are the 3 reasons why Halo would make the jump to Unreal. Reduce costs, focus resources, and of course, make more money. Do you think the next Halo will come out for the next PlayStation? Or even the next Nintendo console? Comment below and let me know what you think. It's Richard. Thanks for watching.